Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Duffy Duck here once again, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Yoshi's Woolly World for the Nintendo Wii U / Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World for the Nintendo 3DS. So, last time we have managed to able to take on the forms of those 12 rematch bosses in the forms of the boss tent. In addition with those, we also managed to able to unlock the next 3 of those Yoshis, which there are Bronze Yoshi, Silver Yoshi, and of course the Gold Rich Yoshi. So, yeah, today for this episode is the fact that I think this is potentially going to be, speaking of, this is going to be a grand finale of this game's Let's Play. Now, you guys are probably thinking about the fact that, hey, aren't you going to show off some of these 3DS exclusive stuff? Most notably with the Poochie levels, and especially noticeable with the customizable, the Yon Yoshi and stuff like that, and also same applies for all 31 of those short movies. They're how the 3DS actually contains. That's not gonna happen this time, unfortunately, for you guys out there, because at this point is the fact that most people seem to get really enjoyed with our current Let's Plays we are currently doing, which there are Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, and especially noticeable with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe / Mario Kart 8, enjoyed at some point in this weekend. So I'm afraid to tell you for this point, guys, the extra videos on there is not going to happen, because, well, I'm going to tell you that right about now, because I just want to able to actually get this Let's Play finished and over with, and plus, I'm not very good when it comes to doing recording segments on 3DS capturing footage and all that stuff, aside from able to actually using my phone, but the problem with that is that, then again, my memory is being completely bankrupted yet again, so unfortunately for you guys out there, the actual extra stuff on the 3DS exclusive features in our Let's Play will be missing out. So, yeah, so let's get this thing to it, while at the same time I'll discuss on that specific stuff. Here we go, on to the last level in the whole entire game, once you unlock, or when you're trying to obtain, rather, all of these smiley flowers. And it appears to be Waltz Start S, in this case the final special stage in the whole entire game as well, which appears to be the wonderful world of walls. So either way, you remember in the forms of some special levels during the forms of Super Mario Galaxy 2 The Perfect Run, especially noticeable with World 9 from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. U, Superstar Road, and also same applies for some of these special worlds in New Super Mario Bros. 2, and also World Crown Crown from the likes of Super Mario 3D World Champion Road, in this case the toughest level in the entire 3D Mario games to this day, and also same applies when, you know, New Super Mario Bros. Well, in this case, Super Mario 3D Land, they has like Special World 8 Crown, where it contains like a the special final level. Well, basically, like in those special stages from the likes of the previous games, is that it's gonna take you onto these familiar iconic moments in any other levels, as you can see, which the beginning portion is the fact that, well, I'll point things out whenever we get to it, although this level might be a little bit tricky and difficult, especially because if you really want to go after everything, well, unfortunately for you though out there, especially noticeable because as you can see, I'm going to be changing the actual different badge, because I think seeing hidden items won't help me that much unless if I'm able to actually use this, the power badge. In fact, this will be the final time we're going to be able to be using the power badge to begin with, because, well, we're getting very close towards the end of this game, folks, especially noticeable with this entire Let's Play of Yoshi's Woolly World. And I'm, sorry to say to you guys out there about the fact that you guys may actually looking forward to see of the actual Poochie levels actually looks like, especially with all 31 of those short movies they actually included. Well, it might be a little bit time consuming to me though, because I did manage to able to do the alternative method to able to actually unlock all of these short movies all in one particular go. That was the forms of changing the actual date settings and all that stuff. Plus, I still haven't got my 100% completion on the 3DS version on my own time, so unfortunately it seemed to tell you that, unfortunately though, the actual bonus video is not gonna happen. So, plus we really want to able to actually get these Let's Plays finished before, 2020 games, as far as the Let's Play department is actually Horizon. So, yeah, that's as far as I could usually think about this for the time's sake, people, because at this point it's that we just really want to move on. So either way, because, well, usually because we really want to get the actual Let's Play finished and over with, especially because, well, you remember when the forms of our Let's Play of Mario Kart 7 during about almost a year ago? That the quality itself is okay. I mean, it's nothing that remarkable about it, at least unlike the 3DS capturing device and all that stuff. And let me tell you right off the bat though, I think seemingly to say we're probably not going to do that much of 3DS capturing recording setups, I'm afraid, because, well, you know when we said this before, after the actual cancellation of the actual Sonic Boom Marathon back in during the forms of August, because, you know, we have a lot of troubles with our phone at the moment, which because we actually got 16 gigabytes as opposed to the forms of, well, 256 gigabytes, which either way, or in this case 256 gigabytes, which I was hoping for the actual methods of recording some stuff like this, but since we got ourselves a crap ton of like app games at the moment, like for instance, you know, Game Loft My Little Pony because of the forms of some other stuff I like to get, and also same applies for Sonic the Hedgehog games, specifically the Christian Whitehead remake on, you know, the first game and the second game, as well as Sonic CD, because I managed to enjoy those three, especially noticeable with Super Mario Run, Dr. Mario World, and most recently Mario Kart Tour, despite the fact that I felt like the Mario Kart Tour kind of felt a little bit disappointing from my regard. Well, at least I still barely able to actually just manage to play that, unless if I try to able to actually unlock the rest of the racers out there. So, you probably get the idea about this solution for that point right there, because, well, at this point in time, folks, is that we're having so many bad luck with that department with all these recording some stuff on 3DS. Because I remember we did have a good time on recording some of the 3DS footage, specifically Mario Party The Top 100, that's one thing, and also Mario Party Star Rush, and also Mario Party Island Tour, New Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario 3D Land, and also Sonic Generations on the 3DS, and also Sonic Lost World also on the 3DS, which, despite it was actually one of the worst versions of that game still, but, you know, relatively speaking, we did have a very decent time with the forms of 3DS capturing recording segments on some other Let's Plays in that regard, especially because that I remember that good old times of that stuff. But unfortunately, from this point onwards, in 2019 and 2020 and beyond, I'm pretty sad to tell you is the fact that I don't think we can able to actually do some 3DS footage, I'm afraid, because, well, we're just having so many bad luck with all these memory storages and all that stuff. Although there's actually another device I like to able to use, but that could wait for a long period of time, because, well, I just need some more time on it. So, yeah, I'm afraid to say is the fact that the extra bits for Yoshi's, well, Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World per se for the 3DS to show off Poochie levels, and as well as the customization with the actual Yon Yoshi you can able to customize with, and finally with the forms of the short movies. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, because I'm going to tell you that right now, because I originally did try to say that in the forms of some previous parts of this Let's Play. Son of a biscuit! Okay, quick error right there, and hopefully this will be a successful attempt, because, well, I think I just done quite enough of the explanations about the fact that why this Let's Play will be finished until today, because today is the forms of the 17th of October, so relatively speaking, we can able to actually get this game finished before that time comes. So, anywho though, let's get into the actual level itself, because basically, as you can see, we're going through world to world, basically. This is based off from World 1, because, you know, with these windmills, ever since in World 1-5, and basically the biggest difference is, this time, as you can see right there, that these actual windmills move ridiculously fast, and also you need to be extremely dead on with the actual timing with your skills and jumps and what have you, because if you jump at the wrong time, or even get hit multitude of times due to the forms of some of these enemies that just decides to throw you off, well, you're probably best to able to actually avoid those. Well, except for this little stupid enemy right over there, which, thankfully though, this will be the last time we're going to be seeing this piranha plant, as you can definitely see right there. Because we are now moving on to the second segment, which is actually based off from World 2. And as you can see, that we actually come across into this little curvy sand thing right there. Well, I don't know exactly what you would call it that per se, but I'll just make it a little bit of an obvious point, but either way. Alongside with that, we also need to dodge a lot of those fireballs that just come from the right. But how come exactly? Well, we need to able to deal with these, once again, these little hot dog looking enemies, as you can see right there, that just somehow breed fireballs, and as you can see right there. And honestly, with the forms of able to actually use the fire power badge, it won't be that bad. But now we move on to the third world segment, because, you know, with all these clouds, rainbows, and everything like that, so... And what's nice about this level is the fact that every time you get into the next segment, is that much like in Super Mario Galaxy 2, the Perfect Run level, or in this case the Perfect Run mission in Grandmaster Galaxy, every time you're able to move on to this next segment, the music will able to change. So... that's pretty cool though, because I like to able to have a lot more variety on it, especially because in some of these levels, and especially noticeable when we get to Super Mario Odyssey, whenever Mario may actually come back into it at some point, and join at some point in like next week or so, hopefully he'll be up for the challenge. Well, at least as far as he hoped it will be. So yeah, not much else to really say about this world, or this level rather. It's just basically you go through a serious amount of world themes based off on the worlds you've able to been to. So, and also, due to the forms of our fact that every time you get to this next segment, you actually get yourselves a whole bunch of hearts every time you're able to actually just get some of them. Unlike in some usual special stages where you only get like one chance to able to... oh goodness gracious, that was so close, because those rainbows just managed to able to go ridiculously fast between disappearing and reappearing. Oh, it's way too much for this point, man. Yeah, as you can see, I got hit right there, but that's okay though, because until the next section, as you can see right there, I can just simply able to actually grab these hearts again. So either way, definitely a lot more quite frequent compared to the forms of how it does it on these normal special stages from worlds 1 through 6, because either way, you only get one chance to able to actually just keep yourselves alive with all 20 of those HP points, or in this case, health points, if you to be more precise. So definitely a little bit more relative than the forms of how it does it from there, but the ultimate challenge is the fact that with all these collectibles you need to get, which means this will be the last time we're going to be able to actually grab all 5 of those smiley flowers, in addition with the actual Miiverse stamp patches, and also same applies with the forms of the final 5 of these woolly pieces and all that stuff, and it actually reveals the final Yoshi that we can able to actually just unlock while able to actually play as him at any time. At least it doesn't matter what version you're going to be playing through, either the 3DS version or the Wii U version. Whilst the 3DS version you can take it on the go and all that stuff. Oh my god, I was going to die right there, because I swear to god, I was going to able to actually climb onto the actual the string or the rope to able to climb on, but for whatever reason, I just simply never get onto that though for some reason. But anyways, now let's move on to the 5th section, which I think the 5th section and the final section can get really tricky and difficult if you're not paying attention to those whatsoever. And for the 5th section, as you can see, this actually takes place in World 5, because, you know, World 5 is inspired by the Snow World. So, and also, during the forms of the previous section that we've already done, there's actually previously, you know, explored through ever since during the forms of World 4, and I think the final section will have to be based off from, well, you know, the 6th world. So, and relatively speaking, there's not much else we can really just must confess by that point, and no, son of a biscuit! Ah, yay. Ah, that's been annoying, but hey, at least I managed to able to not get hit by that section though, unlike the previous attempt I managed to comfort through. This level can be very difficult for most people out there, especially if you don't equip the actual the power badge whatsoever, at least any of them anyway though, because relatively speaking, if you don't able to equip that whatsoever, even if you get to this section in particular though, well, you might as well automatically die if you touch the lava and stuff. At least assuming if you're able to actually use the lava power badge and stuff like that. So, it's more pointing out right away, because either way though, that's not much else to really say about this at this point. So, anyways, let's go ahead and let Poochie manage to give me the actual woolly piece. And hopefully, though, we can able to actually grab the final piece. Well, not necessarily the final piece just yet, though, because, well, we only got one more left. And I think the last one might actually be at the very end of the level. So, unfortunately for me, though, is the fact that I'm actually going to be replaying this level again, just for the sake of time. And hopefully, this will be the last time I'm able to actually missing something. So either way, because, well, for the majority of the levels, unlike the forms of Kirby's Epic Yarn, where I don't simply able to actually miss anything out, well, a couple of exceptions, mind you, for whatever reason, I just had a hard time trying to able to actually gather everything all at once. But anyway, so after when you pass the 6th section, as you can see right there, we actually getting blasted over to the actual moon and get the actual smiley flower in the first place. Or after that, I should say. Now, after that particular part is done, we're getting dropped off by the forms of a couple of those rainbows with these little river streams every once in a while. And also, you know, with these little red bees that we need to mainly collect, well, and then we got ourselves the final piece of wool here. But that doesn't stop here, because if we go all the way to the right, then you notice there's actually a hidden cloud over there. And what can we do with it? Well, it reveals the actual special message, which actually says, Yoshi! Which actually represents the forms of, well, it's kind of like the same thing for the thank you message since the actual other special stages from, you know, previous Mario games. Like, 3D Land has that, 3D World has that as well, and before Super Mario Odyssey has that as well. And also New Super Luigi U as well, so yeah, that's as far from the case, though. And, unfortunately for you guys out there, you're probably not gonna able to actually see any of these bonus areas or these bonus, stages from now on, because, well, we are done with the actual game. Well, apart from that one missing collectible left, which is, of course, the final smiley flowers, so oh boy. But, luckily, though, this particular level doesn't go that long or overstayed its welcome, by the way, because we've already just done one stage compared to the forms of the rest of the parts that we've already done 4 stages in one particular episode in particular, but hopefully though we can able to actually get that sorted. So anyways, let's see what we got in during the final few prizes and all that stuff. First off, we have the final 5 of those stamp patches and stuff, and also we received the final Yoshi in the whole entire game, which is Shiny Platinum Yoshi, which means that we've already managed to go for the hardest level in the whole game. Well, not necessarily hard though, unless if you manage to equip the power badge to begin with. But anyways, I'll meet you guys back whenever I manage to hopefully try to get the final smiley flower, and hopefully things will be 100% complete in no time. So anyways, let's go and equip the last power badge. Alright, so I'm on that particular part over there again, so, and rather than just going on to the far left, instead we need to go on to the far right, just in case you weren't able to get enough time or enough opportunity until you get yourselves, of course, the final smiley flower in the whole entire game. So, there we go. So I'll meet you guys back at the very end of the actual particular portion of the level, or even just go back to the actual hub world, so I'll meet you guys back. Okay, I'm now finally back, and looks like we got ourselves the try 1 for free, which is kind of worthless to me because we are done every single levels in the whole entire game. So naturally speaking, we are entirely done with Yoshi's Woolly World. Now, there are some missing parts of the actual thing about this, and that was the fact that, you know, with the actual that particular tents that we can show off, like the Scrapbook Theater, and that was the fact that you can able to actually enter here, and what you can do with it in here is that you can able to view some enemies or listen to some music if you like, but even then, as you can see, we're off by 1 music left on the actual soundtrack department on this particular game so far. And also, as you can see on the actual enemies viewing department, I'm actually off by, I would say, 16 enemies left, which, to be honest with you, is kind of optional for my liking because, well, I just simply want to show off the actual collectibles that you can get at this point. Especially that if you really want to 100% for everything in this game though, well, you must be sure you need to, I think in order to actually just to see these enemies, I think this might be something to do with the actual ball of yarn that you need to toss out. So, no, I think that's about it. That's pretty cool though, by the way, and also is adorable at the same time because most of these shy guys actually act out as the actual musical notes, which every time you listen to those music, or even one of your best selections of music you're able to listen to, then basically these musical note Shy Guys, they actually decide to come along. So that's pretty cool though, especially because of how the fact that this game is made entirely out of yarn. Well, in this case, woolly or yarn, whatever you want to call it, just like in Kirby's Epic Yarn. But either way though, it is a pleasure experience. So anyway though, yeah, as you can see right there, we off by a couple of enemies left, specifically for the 8-bit renditions of the enemies themselves, especially noticeable with these normal enemies here and there as well. So unfortunately though, there's no way I can able to actually go for that specific stuff. So anyway though, so that does it that out of the way, and now let's go ahead and move on to I would say the next thing we can show off is before we're able to actually conclude this Let's Play in particular, specifically the Wii U version of this game, and that was the forms of an Amiibo hut, which basically if you go in here, well, basically it'll take you into somewhat similar hut as the forms of the actual Yoshi hut, but except the fact that you can actually scan in your Amiibos. Like, for instance, if I go ahead and fetch my Mario Amiibo, or even my favorite franchise's Amiibos, which is specifically one of them is, well, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, because, well, you can able to simply select Sonic the Hedgehog costume in Yoshi's Woolly World, which I think is really cool. And also, if we scan in my Pac-Man Amiibo from Super Smash Bros. Lineup, then it will also give me a Pac-Man costume for Yoshi. So that's pretty cool, though. Especially if I want to scan in the Mega Man Amiibo, because, you know, I'm a die-hard Mega Man fan like I do. So either way, though, you can also do that. And also, my favorite franchises of all time, as you can obviously tell, you can also scan in the actual Mario Amiibo as well. It doesn't really matter what Amiibo types you're going to be using. You can use either the Smash Bros. Lineup, or you can able to actually use the Super Mario lineup of Amiibos, which to me is pretty cool though, because even then, at least on the 3DS version, they did at least manage to able to actually expand more of those Amiibos on the 3DS version of the game, because, you know, the 3DS version came out in 2017, whilst this particular version of Yoshi's Woolly World came out in 2015. Specifically, in June in Europe, as well as the forms of, I would say about a month later in Japan, but it wasn't until Americans got it until, let's just say, during the forms of October, which is a little bit better late than never thing, I suppose. I think it's pretty obvious because they need to work on the actual recolored of that specific Super Famicom or Super Nintendo colors and stuff like that. So, I guess that makes it obvious. But before we're done with that, however, though, let me just show off briefly with those two specific Amiibos. Specifically, the Yoshi selection of Amiibos. If we scan in the specific Yarn Yoshi, this happens. We got ourselves the Yarn Yoshi, we all know, but as you can see, it acts out very much exactly like a Double Cherry power-up from the likes of Super Mario 3D World, especially with Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. But the biggest difference is here that you can actually take control of those two characters all at once. But this makes platforming a little bit finicky at times, I will admit though right away though, but they behave exactly like how it did in the actual two-player co-op, because as you can see, if you go way further away from your Amiibo companion, or in this case your two-player co-op aspect, you can also press the minus button to able to actually give a callback. So that's pretty cool though, especially that the Amiibo player also gets the actual health amounts they can able to get. So that doesn't stop there, however, though, because you can also manage to eat one of your Amiibo player and then able to actually use them to able to act out as projectiles, which either way is pretty cool stuff. But honestly, that just always gets in my way sometimes, though, I will admit, though, because, well, I'm only going to show this off in case if you're able to miss something. But we did also manage to able to scan in the another Yoshi, which this also does the same thing. But in addition with doing the same thing, well, as you can see, he's actually made out of, like, plasticky look, which is pretty cool, though, because you can able to use it on Super Mario lineup of Amiibos, or you can able to use the Super Smash Bros. One, whatever you want to prefer. But, I think that's as far as we can able to show off at this point, guys. Although there is also the forms of mellow mode, which behaves exactly like the easy mode of this game, which all it does is just basically it allows you to have wings and all that stuff, which I can't be bothered to show off because, well, you guys already know about that particular stuff. But the only major thing we did not even show off now is that specific power badge that you can only use as in mellow mode, which this allows you to able to finish the entire level without any sort of like walking through point A to point B syndrome, which kind of behaves exactly like how it did on the P-Wing power-up on Super Mario 3D Land, for sure. And I think that's as far as we can able to show off about some extra stuff of how this game offers us too. Well, aside from the actual Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World features, which again, it's not going to happen for this Let's Play, sadly, just because we really want to get this Let's Play finished until today. So, yeah, let's give my final thoughts of this game before we're able to finish up this Let's Play. You should definitely recommend you get this game on the Wii U, but if you don't have the Wii U, however, though, you can also recommend this on the 3DS. So, but aside from that, though, the visuals do look very, very good, even for the actual Wii U title. Sure, the story might be a little bit of a letdown because it's pretty much exactly a similar story as from previous Yoshi games. Controls do look very, very good, and also the soundtrack is probably the best part about this game for me, aside from, you know, the repetition with the forms of some special stages. I'm not gonna lie sometimes, but either way though, the soundtrack is still good. You should definitely recommend you get this game on the Wii U or the 3DS, whatever you want to get for that side of things. So, that concludes our Let's Play of Yoshi's Woolly World. So this is me, Duffy Duck here, from the likes of the Maxi Toys. And next up on the forms of the Yoshi's Let's Plays department, of course, next up it will be Yoshi's Crafted World for the Nintendo Switch, which that will happen during next year. So I hope you guys do enjoy this Let's Play, and take care of yourselves, and have a great day.